And look at Randy Orton slithering.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! KO! Here's the cover.
And we're back here with a video today, this time featuring the Tier 8 Chinese heavy tank, the BZ-176. And I actually got lucky a week or so ago and pulled this bad boy out of a chest. So now I am blessed with this quite fun Tier 8 heavy tank, which is not something I say very often because I feel like Tier 8 heavies are a class of vehicle that get kind of shafted a lot when it comes to matchmaking. Nothing in my eyes really gets worse than being bottom tiered against tier 10s in a tier 8 heavy tank. It's just kind of sad. But this one I've actually been enjoying a lot regardless of the matchmaking, which is a little surprising given it has a lack of penetration. It has 208 millimeters of pen on the standard AP rounds, and then 80 millimeters of pen on the secondary HE rounds that it gets. So overall, it's been a blast. It's been a very fun tank to play. I'm gonna hopefully try to 3-mark it as you line up a shot, and oh my god, I don't know how did that hit, but we take it. So this tank has a little bit of reputation coming from PC of being a little broken. It's still really good on our version. It did get, I think it got some nerfs when it came over to console. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think it did. I'm not sure what they are because I wasn't actively playing the game at the time that this tank was released. But hey, now I have it myself. So first game is on, I think it's Fisherman's Bay. Top tier, good matchmaking, unsurprisingly. Yeah. So as far as the equipment goes on this vehicle, I am rocking with the optics, gun rammer, ammo swapper, and then I believe vertical stabilizers. You could switch up vert stabs potentially for something like vents or whatever, maybe even the equipment that prevents or increases ramming damage if you wanted to set it up for that. Definitely could with the rockets. So yeah, that's what I set up for that. Then also running crew skills. We are going with Born Leader, armor angling, situational awareness, run and gun, expert gunner for that extra module damage with this big old 160mm shell, snapshot, rapid aim, track mechanic, and off-road driving. Again, you could mix and match a few of those here and there, but that's generally what I'm rocking on this tank. And here's a classic game moment. You're like, oh, I'm going to try to snipe this pixel, this lioness, because he's not really presenting anything else. We take it. It's got .44 accuracy, and then as soon as we fire, he drives out sideways on for a much easier shot. Even at that kind of distance, I'd have faith that this tank would probably hit that. That's how gaming be sometimes. But, anyways, so yeah, the tank itself, it's got very, very, very good armor for tier 8. It does have one glaring weakness, which is the top of the turret roof is quite weak. It's only 41 millimeters thick. So if you have a gun caliper that I think is 3 times as much as that, you can just overmatch it and pen it very easily. Unlike the turret face, which is quite strong, the upper plate is quite strong, and even most of the lower plate is fairly strong for lower plate standards. But you obviously don't want to expose that, and you don't have to a lot of times, because this tank, as you shut down the IS-22, has 10 degrees of gun depression, which is really, really great. If you can make this get into a position where you can use all 10 degrees and have a bit of support while you're waiting on the long reload, because again, it is a 22-second reload without the food boost. You can get down to like 20 seconds. And you could get it down a little bit more, potentially, if you ran vents, for sure. But it's a tank where you definitely don't want to be fighting multiple enemies by yourself more often than not. You generally want to have some support around you because it just doesn't have the DPM to survive long otherwise. You'll get overwhelmed and surrounded quite easily. So being in this kind of location where you have side shots, wish we could have that one back. Yeah, this game hasn't started the best. Have missed some shots. Of course, we were playing it at range here a little bit. we don't go to town on this version of the in this vehicle. There's only one already. It's top tier. I want to make use of the ridge lines, providing some vision. We shut down the AMX 65T there. Yeah, and here I kind of take note, I will say, of the light tank firing in the middle as we used one of our rocket boosters. Again, it only has 4 rocket boosts, so you got to use those wisely. And you also can only turn. This is the first game I load putting the tanks. I'm getting used to it. We spot the LTTB, and I'd love to get rid of that tank. Get rid of that vision for the enemy team. We are winning 9-7, but the hit points are still relatively close. And we get a line-up shot on the LTTB. Keep going straight. Oh, I'm so sorry, LTTB. I feel kind of bad because that is my favorite tank, but we just one-shot ammo-racked that guy for 1,000 hit points. And that is the beautiful thing of this gun. Firing 160mm AP shells, you can do a lot of module damage. And after playing this tank for quite a bit last night, actually, I played it for like probably 2 hours straight. I got quite a few ammo racks, especially if you know where to aim at certain tanks. If you get, pixel snipe on the Charlemagne there, you can get quite a few bit of turrets popping off. So you see the tank there hitting some shots, you're like, well, it doesn't seem that inaccurate. Well, it is. We're just getting a little bit lucky here this game, and, Lady Luck is nice to have on your side when she decides to cooperate with you. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen every time in this tank. I've definitely had some fair share experience. Just there, Jesus Christ. I promise, I have missed shots at point blank at lower plates several times. And you're sat there like, you hit that, but then you don't hit the lower plate that's like 50 meters away. RNG, I don't know. But, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. We all hate and love it at the same time. So that took us up to 4,000 damage, 3 kills. And you can see the beauty, too, of running the ammo swapper on this thing. You definitely want to be able to have that flexibility to switch between the AP and the HE shells, because the HE shells have 800 alpha damage, and the AP have 650, which are both quite, it's a lot of damage for artillery heavy. But when you can get those, like, Borsigs, artillery shots, light tanks even, if you feel confident enough, you can get some really nasty damage rolls with the HE. And it's also good for finishing off tanks, learn to aim turkey, that are on low HP. If a tank is on 200 HP or less, you can generally just splash them to death with the HE shell instead of having to worry about penning them. Which makes it, an effective tank even at tier 10 a little bit if you're fighting tanks. Like, well, as an E100 or something, you don't have that much penetration. You can still do some damage to them. Not a lot, especially for a 20-second reload. So that definitely is a drawback of the tank, is the lack of a higher penetrating shell. Again, 208. It's not that great for going against, like, your Type 5s, your Mouses, even E5s. A lot of tanks at tier 10. Like I said, this guy, I don't have to worry about aiming really that much. I'm going to splash him for like 77 hit points and take him out of this game. Another drawback of the vehicle is once you use up your 4 rocket boosts, it is quite slow. I think the max speed is like 30 kph. Yeah, it's not very fast. So it turns into very much like a super heavy speed as soon as you lose all those rocket boosts. So knowing when to use those rocket boosts as we finish that game off with 4,200 damage, first class, and 4 kills. It's very, very, very important to know when to use those rocket boosts on this tank and any of the Chinese heavies. I haven't actually grinded that line. I may after this because it needs something to grind towards. I know they're not the best, but it just keeps you intrigued in the game, I suppose, as you go through the post-battle results screen for that one. The next game, we are on Lakeville. And I apologize that the quality of this game is not quite at 4K like the previous video, but I could not use this from the stream last night. This is definitely the best game I've had in this tank, and one of the best games I've had in a minute. So, initially, I was like, yeah, I'm going to try to push the Lakeville idiot play, as I like to call it, because I have rockets, and I did this earlier tonight, and it worked quite well, which was to use the rockets to push into the E4 location and just bully any light tank or medium that goes there. But then I kind of spot the map, and I'm like, I have no support going to the town. and they have several tanks going that way. You can see trees get knocked down. We line up the shot on this 112 that our LTTB has spotted, and luckily the shell flies true. And yeah, we're not going to go in here. We only have one tier 7 heavy tank going to the town. Our entire team is still sat in the base and really haven't even pushed the 1-2 line. So it makes no sense for me to push up where the LTTB is at. One, he's already there too. And so it's going to be crowded, and it's going to mess him up too, because I could get him shot or spotted. Not a cool thing to do if you're in a heavy tank, is go and sit right behind a light tank that's scouting. To ask me how I know. Instead, we're going to go fight a little bit and push the lemming train on the 1-2 line. There's no real point in me going to the 9-0. I can already see there were 2 tanks spotted, but you could see multiple trees getting knocked down in the foreground and even in the back a little bit, that there was multiple tanks back there. So instead of that, we're just going to go and fight it out here on this ridge a little bit, but not necessarily overcommit at the same time. We're just going to try to do what we can here until the enemy team inevitably is going to push the 9-0 and the JK line into our base. Lakeville is a really good map to defend on, so we can fall back if needed to be. We saw that T-29 too. I'm making note that he got absolutely slapped and checking the mini map here, or the team list, and there's 2 Borsigs on the enemy team. And one of them is actually platooning with that demon that's over there. As we get unlucky at the HE pen, it does not penetrate the Walker Bulldog there as we hit its gun mantlet, so we lose a bit of damage, but we're still hitting for 350, so yeah, it is what it is. And at this point, I'm looking for a shot in this Tiger 131. Again, I don't want to overexpose myself as much as possible. Go up slowly, rock in, and put a big old AP shell right through the side. Could have maybe aimed a little long, but I feel like he would have pulled back in time. I was trying to go for his ammo rack right below the turret on the side. It's a very viable shot against against Tiger 1s. And now here, I'm like, okay, where is the Borsig? Because that T-29 got absolutely slapped. That died in front of me. And I'm not getting lit from there. And then just scanning for shell tracers, and there you go. There's the Borsig just killed somebody. I'm like, where is he at? He didn't get spotted, so he's definitely in that bush, right? Oh, yeah. Bye, Mr. Borsig. So we just penned him with HE and set him on fire and took him out of the game with 1 shot. So that's rough, buddy. So we took out the Demon's fire support there. There's probably still another Borsig somewhere back there. I just don't know where, and I'm not going to push in at this point. That Demon has got a crossfire. He's got other tanks helping. He's got already support. There's no point for me to push in at that point. I'm not going to get anything done. So instead, I'm going to rotate back towards defending our base. We're losing by 4 tanks here at this point, but the hit point percentage is still pretty close. And I feel like if I can get this tank to this really strong hull down position to defend the base, we can actually rack up a pretty fair amount of damage here. If you get an easy shot into T-32... Nope. Sails high. Could have maybe fully aimed that a little bit more. Again, if you don't fully aim this tank, it doesn't always like the hit with the .44 accuracy. It is what it is. And they have a lot of tanks for pushing in. And now they're going to do a classic mistake here. They're winning the game. They're like, oh, we got several tanks up. We can just push in handedly. And they are just pushing it with no abandon. And that IS-5, he's gone. Poof. He was full health, gone. So, you guys, if you're winning like this, just be aware that on a map like Lakeville, it's very easy to defend this location if folks know what they're doing. It's very easy to rotate in a haul-down tank like this between locations and absolutely punish them as they try to push in and wrap up this game. We get the nice shot into a Tiger 131 there. Borsig pokes over. We're on reload, unfortunately. Love to slam an HE shell into him. Somebody does put a shot into him, so he's a potential one shot if we do high roll enough. Again, this isn't looking that good at this point. It's down to 4 to 8, but hit points are still actually active, or not active, even. We get a bounce from the Borsig on the upper plate of this tank. Again, we're in a strong spot here for this vehicle. It's got great armor. As long as the Borsig doesn't know to shoot atop my turret. We try to go for the shot, but unfortunately it hits the dead corpse that he's hiding behind. And now I have 15 seconds to reload again. Unfortunately, I get a little upset here because the Storm Tiger P actually pushed my tracks out and got me shot by the Borsig, but that's fine, I guess. It is what it is. We're down 3 to 7 at this point. 4,000 damage already. Just trying to get as many shots in as possible, take out as many guns. I like to take out the big guns like the Borsig, as that one does connect that time with the HE shell. and just constantly scanning the targets here. And now we see this 112 make an aggressive push. We use the rockets that we have, push him out of the side of our tier 8 heavy tank friend, and now we are just trying to block his gun with our gun, take him out of the game. Our friendly heavy tank puts a shot into him, and that should allow us to finish him off with AP. And now we just have a couple one shots in front of us. I'm pretty confident that our heavy tank can actually tank these guys, and I don't have to worry about them too much. So at this point, I'm going to rotate back to the other side of the map. There is a Borsig as the VK-45 takes out the T-95E2. And now I'm going to load a G, I believe. I should. And I have two guys on one shots. I have a shot on the IS, 10 to shim off. This is a bit risky, but, have some fun and take the rockets and just fly into the Borsig and ram him and take him out of the game. And just like that, a game that was 3-7 is now 2-2. And all that's left is the enemy Arty and a AMX 1375. So a lot going on there in a quick succession. And now we actually spot up the enemy artillery, but we don't get spotted ourselves. But our friendly heavy tank is spotted, so that's why the M12 is aiming in. He unfortunately takes him out, but then we take him out with a nice shot with our HE round. Again, the flexibility of this tank to switch ammos based on what kind of target you're looking at with the ammo swapper and why you definitely want to run it. Now we have a 1375 who is a definite one shot for us. We have to be a little bit careful here. We don't want to just get circled in a heavy tank, and we also have a 20-second reload. So if we do miss our shot at close range on that guy, we could potentially lose. Because especially now we are out of the rocket boosters. We've used all those up. He does pop out. It just goes into his tracks. So he gets a little lucky, we get a little unlucky. We're sitting at 6,300 damage and 5 kills, so we definitely would like to win this game. We could be patient and just sit here and defend the cap, but, that's the smart thing potentially to do. But I'm just taking bets that I can probably outplay this guy at this point in the game. He seems to be panicking a little bit just by his snapshots into my tank. He should have just ran back down the JK line and hoped that I had followed him. I was not going to push past this house, but then he decides he's going to try to circle me. Hey, he's got a shot, and we shut that shot down and finish off a fantastic game in the BZ-176 with our 6 kill for the Top Gun, 6,700 damage, 2,349 base XP, and just an absolute blast of a game to play. I can't say much more about this tank. It's just really fun to play. Between the big old derpy gun, the ammo racks, the rocket boosters that you can use on it to get to positions early that most heavies maybe not be able to. Also ram tanks like that 112. It's just fun. It's just a fun tier 8 heavy tank. So if you can get your hands on this, I highly recommend. It's just a blast to play. See the final scoreboard for this game. So yeah, hopefully maybe see some more of this in the future. I'm going to try to push for 3 marks on this tier 8 heavy tank. So next video should be of the Lynx 3 mark, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.
Thanks, Rampy. I don't think I'm topping that one anytime soon.